For a major part of our history, humans have been hunter-gatherers, meaning we would hunt game and collect plants to survive. Some theories state that migrations were due to our ancestors following protein. Once we ate all the game, we simply had to move on to find more. Then we settled down for unknown reasons. In addition to growing grains and vegetables, we started to domesticate animals. This allowed for the provision of meat, a protein important for our development. The frequency of meat consumption has been changing quite a bit over the last 3 generations. For our grandparents, the major source of protein was legumes, and this historical profile of protein use can be seen across the world. As our societies, namely those of the Western world, became more affluent, meat consumption increased. This is swinging back, with newer generations in affluent countries now reducing their meat consumption, a trend coined flexitarian. From a global perspective, there are major dietary shifts, mostly as a consequence of globalisation. In particular, developing countries in Asia, South America and Africa are adopting Western-style diets, increasing their calorie intake and the consumption of animal products, as well as refined carbohydrates. Diet modifications are due to both the movement of people and goods throughout the world, and to the easy circulation of news, many of which are scientifically unsound and do not reflect our current knowledge. At a global level, the proportion of people living in poverty is sharply decreasing. As people become more affluent, their diets move towards a higher consumption of animal protein, namely from red meat. The problem is that ruminant meat consumption puts a very high stress on the environment, and this current global pattern of meat consumption is simply not sustainable long term. We need global public health initiatives to guide the dietary transition of developing countries. Globalisation also means that people and goods move more freely. In this respect, the continuous exposure of dietary habits of foreign countries is now translating into dietary shifts. For instance, sushi tops the list of food items ordered by phone in Milan, where the typical dish was risotto. Another trendy example is that of quinoa, which doesn't grow in Europe or North America, yet is quite popular among the young generations. The same can be said for avocados or other food staples that are entering our diet because they're now easy to purchase. The other contributor to main current dietary trends is unfortunately the ease of access to purportedly scientific information. These days, anyone can easily disseminate unfiltered information on new diets or their components. This is often matched by propaganda of, or for example, ketogenic diets, a very low carb and high fat diet leading to a state of ketosis that is usually employed in refractory epilepsy in children. Others include hyperproetic diets, such as the Dukan, which restricts the use of carbohydrates and leads to loss weight, mostly due to water loss, and prolonged fasting periods, theoretically to detoxify the body from unidentified toxins. In the absence of a diagnosed disease, excluding food items from the diet may result in too low or too high consumptions of macronutrients and vitamins, minerals and non-essential nutrients such as polyphenols. In today's world, we can no longer eat diets that are not sustainable. Current and future diets must be respectful of the environment, with attention paid to carbon footprint, water usage and agrochemicals. For example, here at Upton Bridge Farm in Somerset, where cattle freely roam 120 acres of moorland and where regenerative farming and high stewardship schemes are key to how the land, livestock and linked ecosystems are managed. Food supply chains must be transformed if we want to feed the world in a sustainable way.